Welcome to Films and Stuff with your hosts, Pete Mitchell and Ethan Hunt.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Films and Stuff. I'm Ethan, joined, as always, by most valuable Pete. Hey, Pete, what's up today?
Not much, buddy. How are you?
I'm good. We've got our regular Saturday morning stream or skip segment. Nothing stops us or holds us back. So, Pete, give us a quick rundown of the rules for our new listeners.
Okay, so Ethan and I have prepared lists of TV shows for each other to watch. Every week, we randomly assign one of those shows to watch. We watch 2 episodes if it's a series, 30 minutes if it's a feature-length program. And on that basis, we determine if that show is worthy of being streamed or skipped.
Who has the honor of going first today?
Why don't you start? Tell me about Duster.
You assigned me Duster, which is on HBO Max. It is a show set in Phoenix, Arizona in the 1970s. It stars Josh Holloway, who plays a character named Jim Ellis. I mean, he's basically known for Lost, where he plays Sawyer, right?
Yeah.
But he's played a bunch of stuff kind of after that. And I feel like he's never really captured the same magic that he had in Lost. That every character he plays is kind of the same kind of wisecracking Sawyer-ish character. And you absolutely see that in this show, Duster, where, in Lost, he kind of had like a little nickname for everybody. And he's kind of like always too cool for school and a lot of like witty one-liners and stuff. Absolutely the same here. He's got longer-ish hair. I mean, if you liked him in Lost, you will like him in this. His character is not dramatically different. You kind of know, hard on the outside, soft on the inside, type of character. So what is happening here is we are introduced to a lady named Nina Hayes. She is a fresh FBI agent, and we meet her, and she is desperate after she graduates from the FBI Academy to be transferred to the Phoenix office. And somehow she gets her wish, and we find it's to go after this one kind of criminal kingpin who's got some, like, I don't want to say a small time, let's say like medium-sized criminal enterprise, and she wants to be there to track him down. We find out that she is so dedicated to bringing down this criminal because apparently he used to be based on the East Coast, where she is from, and her father was one of the people that he shook down. Apparently he had like a small corner convenience store, and she believes that ultimately this gangster had her father killed. So she's gone to FBI Academy, and now she's kind of dedicated her life/career, to going after this guy and to bring him down. And now he's based on the West Coast. I'm not sure how the relocation works, but anyway, that's the story. Josh Holloway's character is a driver. His car is a, wait for it, Plymouth Duster. It's basically kind of like a muscle car.
Yeah.
And of course, you see him, he's always screeching the tires and doing kind of like these little donuts and, U-turns and stuff, right? He's a driver. He works for, this little medium-sized criminal guy, does odd errands. He does like these little blackmail things where he's like delivering envelopes and giving someone like pictures of themselves in a bad position, saying like, hey, I know you won't be a problem, or hey, have a nice day, like all these little kind of like
2-bit con artist kind of stuff.
Exactly. So the FBI agent, who is now based in the Phoenix office, she is faced with a lot of, let's say, backlash or resistance from her office. 1, because she's young. 2, because she's Black. 3, because it seems as though some people in the office may be protecting this criminal. And she reaches out to Josh Holloway's character, and she basically says, look, I want you to be my informant. And he's like, absolutely not. And then she says, oh, but wait, I've got some evidence that your brother was killed by the criminal that you're currently employed by. And she shows the evidence. And then Holloway flips, of course, and says, all right, I'll help you bring him down. And by the way, why are you so dedicated to this? And she confides in him because he killed my dad. So now they've got commonality and they're both trying to bring him down. Her from the outside as an FBI agent, trying to overcome all the bureaucracy and possibly the corruption in her office. Holloway obviously trying to do it internally. And then you've got what I would call like a little bit of a Breaking Bad situation where something goes wrong and then they spend the episode trying to fix that thing so their cover isn't blown. But then in order to fix that thing, something else goes wrong. You know how it goes, kind of like the dominoes one after another, right?
Right.
So there's always kind of like the big plot to bring down the guy, but every episode's got a small plot, which is, oh, this guy discovered us, so we've got to like, pay him a bribe, but then we paid him a bribe, and then we ended up shooting him, so now we got to bury him. And in burying him, we created this problem, and so on and so forth. What's my assessment? I would say that this is a mooch. In a way, it's a little bit better than I expected. I had a few kind of like mood swings on how I thought this would go. So first, I was excited. It was Josh Holloway starring in something. So I thought, okay, this is going to be great. Then I kind of saw the trailer and read a little bit about it. I was like, this is going to be so formulaic. This is going to be a bust. And then watching it, I have to say, I like the vibe. It's got a very mellow vibe. It's in the 70s, so everything's kind of, groovy, baby, right on. It's in Phoenix. To be honest, seems more like Las Vegas in the 70s. I don't think Phoenix in the 70s has any type of like real character. Like if you said describe Phoenix in the 70s, you'd be like, I don't know. And if I said like, well, what do you think it's similar to? How about Vegas in the 70s? Kind of like low-rise houses, some small-time casinos, a lot of like gold and sand and shiny sunsets and stuff. You'd be like, yeah, that's probably what Phoenix was like in the 70s.
I don't think I could describe Phoenix now.
Yeah, exactly. It's just not a city that's got a lot of like, it doesn't really have a very
It
big.
doesn't have cultural cachet globally, and certainly maybe not even in the Americas, to be honest.
And it doesn't have like that one like defining building or thing,
Yeah.
It's just one of those cities where it's like there's no aerial photo you can show and you're like, oh, we're back in Phoenix.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. I like the vibe though. It's a 70s kind of groovy, chill out vibe. It relies heavily on the smirkiness of Josh Holloway. So if you like Sawyer, you will like Josh Holloway's character in this. If you're kind of like, well, been there, done that, you may not be impressed. It also relies a lot on the duster, which is, I would say, generally inspired by something like the Dukes of Hazzard. There's just a lot of jump in the car, screech the tires, a little bit of smoke, aggressive U-turn, engine roaring kind of stuff. So, I mean, if that's gets your pulse going, good. If you're just kind of like yawn, ho hum, a red car doing a aggressive U-turn in an empty Phoenix street in the 70s, it's not really going to do anything for you. The characters, I think, are all likable. No one is unlikable at all. The plot is fine. It's not a bad show. I would say this is something that I would expect Netflix to have offered instead of HBO. I always think of HBO as a little bit deeper. And I feel like this is more of a show that I would find on Amazon or Hulu or Netflix. It's just a little bit formulaic where they got, a high level actor and said, just reprise the same character as in X that everyone loved you from. And they just kind of like built a more generic plot around it. So I give this a mooch. All right. So that's Duster on HBO.
All right. Moving swiftly along, I had The Red Queen, but it's originally called Reina Roja. because it's actually a
Oh,
Spanish
okay.
language program. Now, I don't mind foreign language stuff. I actually don't have an issue with it at all. Let me walk you through the opening sequence because I thought this was a banger, and then I'll tell you what the show's about. You see a woman in an empty apartment who looks like she's going to kill herself. And in every single window, so you're seeing, imagine you're in a drone looking at her through a window of an apartment building. And in one window, she's about to hang herself. In another, she's about to drown herself in a bathtub. Or in another, she's pouring gasoline on herself. In another, she's stabbing herself in the gut. In another, she's standing on the windowsill. She's about to jump out the window. And then you see
Huh.
her go through it, but obviously not. This is just her imagination, as it were. And then you quickly learn that she is the smartest person in the world with an IQ of 242.
What?
Yeah. So we don't know anything about her, but we know that she's incredibly smart and she wants to commit suicide. The second character in the show is this big guy. He's like a police officer, detective, who's a good guy. Like he's got a heart of gold, but he does a bad thing. Like he beats up the pimp of this hooker, and then the hooker turns him in,
Okay.
even though he was the one protecting her. And at the police station, he's hired by a guy named Mentor. Like he's a mentor. And he said that I will clear your rap. Like I will make sure you get away scot-free. I'll make sure you get your badge and your gun back as long as you bring this smart woman to me to help me solve a murder. And then we find out that this woman, this super smart woman, used to work for this guy named Mentor. She quit. He doesn't want her to quit. And of course, the reason that he wants her is because she's the smartest person in the world and she can kind of solve crimes and see things in crime scenes that others can't. So
It's like The Pretender.
it's kind of like The Pretender. Think of her as like a very abrasive Sherlock Holmes. And Sherlock Holmes was already an
Huh.
abrasive character who's got like
Yeah.
super mental
Yeah.
powers and is able to dissect a crime scene. She doesn't get humor. She's a little bit like Drax from Guardians of the Galaxy. Like she doesn't understand
Yeah.
she doesn't understand idioms or jokes or things like that,
Yeah.
right? Because it's all below her. And that's the thing.
Right.
Then we find out that the show, The Red Queen, is a secret society based on the best police officers across multiple departments, across multiple jurisdictions in Europe. And this smart, crazy smart woman was the cornerstone of that entire system. She's hired basically to solve this crime that's unknowable, and she's able to solve it, and they go after them. They go after the bad guy. It's crazy. And then, of course, you find out, just like in Sherlock Holmes, that the bad guy that she thinks that they're catching isn't really the bad guy, but is a like a supervillain, kind of like Moriarty. He's pulling the strings behind the scenes. It's a really good series. I really enjoyed it.
How many episodes are there and how many
Only
did you
6 or
watch?
7. I binged the whole thing.
Really?
Oh yeah, I finished the whole.
Is there a second season coming out? It's a 2025, right?
2024. It came out last year.
Hmm.
They've set it up so that it's definitely a multi-series show. Will
Yeah.
they? I have no idea. For me, this hits all the right.
Yeah, it hits all the right notes.
Exactly. It hits all the right notes for me. It's a Sherlock Holmes-esque mystery. There's a greater
Yeah.
conspiracy that underlying through the whole thing. The visual
Right.
effects are pretty cool. Like when she's in a crime scene, she dissociates and kind of goes like takes a drone's view and is able to see
Oh,
everything. Frank reality is that for a lot of people, this is probably going to be a mooch. There's
yeah.
nothing bad about it. There's nothing
Yeah.
fantastic about it. But for me, loved it. I loved this kind of show. I loved it. And even though it was in Spanish, didn't do anything against it for me. So this was
Oh, that's
a
great.
must subscribe.
I have to say it's one of the trends that I mean, I wouldn't even say it's a trend anymore. It's like established, but I mean, a few years ago, there was occasionally, like a foreign language show that would captivate everybody, whether it was House of Money or whether it was one of the Korean shows. And now it's like you could get very, very high quality television shows, not so much cinema, but television shows in foreign language.
Yeah,
And whether it's subtitles or dubbing, you can like almost equally enjoy them to, what's produced in the US. And I think that's also, it's hard to separate, the chicken from the egg with kind of like the downfall of Hollywood as like everything used to be made like on the Warner set. And now it's like film Ontario and film New Zealand and film Georgia and
yeah,
film all the other countries kind of all have their own budding, film production editing capabilities, let's say. And you see it's much more dispersed globally than
a
it used to
hundred
be.
percent. And I think that's one of the things that's really great about these streaming platforms is that there's a lot of shows that people wouldn't normally get access to or would even think of, right?
Yeah.
So I think of Western Europe as a strong contender for providing a lot of these shows, again, not including the UK, of course, that are really high quality dramas or comedies or thrillers or whatever you want to call it. I
Yeah.
mean, remember last year there was that great French sci-fi show where he goes into the virtual
Oh,
reality world.
yeah. Yes. And he met his former self and like tried to
Yeah,
prevent
and he's
his
able
own
to save
death.
his wife before she dies.
Oh my gosh, that was fantastic.
Exactly. So, you know what I mean? Like, good shows, great concepts that, it's just going to show you that Hollywood doesn't have the monopoly on good cultural content anymore.
I mean, Bollywood was always the standout for that, but it was kind of like just very regionally focused. I mean, definitely Spanish shows aren't intended to be global, but I think that they've kind of adopted global concepts. So by virtue of that, they're just a little bit like there's a broader appeal.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And if you look at the quality of the filming, cinematography, acting, the set designs, it's all what you would expect from an American show.
What do we have next week? What's our next assignments and
All right, so
streams?
next week you and I are both on Amazon Prime. If you can believe it, I've been on Amazon Prime for the last 5 out of 6 weeks.
No way. Is that true?
Yeah, so it's completely switched from the last
Huh.
couple of years. Their content has gone up. But you're
Yeah.
on Amazon Prime watching a show called Ballard.
Maggie Q.
Oh, there you go. I'm in. I love Maggie
Yeah.
Q.
Oh, cool. All right.
And I am actually watching a movie on Amazon Prime called The Killer's Game.
While we have Streamer Skip next week, we should mention that we actually haven't seen anything in cinemas for quite some time, huh?
Woof, it's been a while. Other than Tron, which, you really
I loved.
enjoyed, I didn't mind. It's done very poorly in the box office, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's really flopped in the box office, huh?
Yeah.
Like so much so that I read an article questioning whether or not Jared Leto was still like an A-list
I
movie
mean, I've
star.
never thought of him as A-list anyway, but he was good in a lot of shows. But yeah, like it's a blow for Jared Leto.
Yeah. I don't want to, I guess I'm of two minds of, I thought Tron the movie was very, very good. But again, one of the things we said at the outset of our review of that movie was that it snuck up on us
Yeah.
and we weren't actually aware that it was in cinemas until it was in cinemas. And I feel like that has something to do with the amount of promotion it got compared to something like F1 that was like jammed down my throat every time I turned on Apple TV Plus, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of which, by the way, you saw the news. Apple
I
officially is
did.
the broadcast partner for F1 in the
Yeah.
US.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that. Big news. Obviously, they've had something in mind for a long time. So that's a
Yeah,
very
absolutely.
interesting strategic partnership. But Tron, it's disappointing because I really thought that movie was better than the box office performance. One thing I've noticed about this is like when I look at my local cinemas and I look at what's playing, Tron is still out, but there's only like 2 showings a day. One battle after another is still being showed like 6 times a day. How has that movie done in the box office?
Also not well. It's the most successful P.T. Anderson movie, but it's not done very well otherwise.
I mean, that is still like being pushed and pushed and pushed, whereas Tron is not. And that's surprising to me. And there's just all these other little like niche horrors that I feel like they just run forever. Bad Guys 2 is still out. Black Phone 2 is still out. Surprisingly, Smashing Machine is not showing. It had a very, very short run at the cinema by me. A very short run.
And it didn't even show for me, so.
Yeah, and you didn't even get it, despite all the Oscar buzz for The Rock. Pete, before we sign off for the weekend, give us our YouTube, social media, and other creds so that people can comment or give us feedback.
All right, like this video, leave a comment below, subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to hit that notification bell.
Pete, thank you as always for joining on this special holiday weekend for the Films and Stuff Stream or Skip segment. Listeners, thank you for tuning in, and don't miss us next week. Next episode, Films and Stuff Podcast. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Ethan. Thanks, everyone.
Bye now.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Films and Stuff. If you haven't already, please subscribe and review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever podcasts are downloaded. Films and Stuff. There is no substitute.